Moira vibes.
The Secret Crush. Confession. Ethan was not the kind of guy who liked to stand out. He was quiet, kept to himself, and rarely spoke unless someone asked him a direct question. But he had a secret. For months, he had been crushing on Emma, the class president. She was smart, kind, and always seemed so confident. One day, Ethan decided to write Emma a letter. He thought it was the safest way to express his feelings without the embarrassment of saying it out loud. He spent hours choosing the right words. The letter wasn't long, but it was heartfelt. Dear Emma, I just wanted to say that I admire you. You're always so confident and helpful, and I think you're an amazing person. I know this might be awkward, but I wanted to let you know how I feel. I hope we can talk someday. Sincerely, Ethan. After reading the letter 100 times, Ethan folded it neatly and slipped it into his notebook. He planned to give it to her after class when no one was around. The next morning, Ethan walked into class feeling nervous but determined. He sat at his desk, opened his notebook, and double-checked that the letter was still there. As the teacher started the lesson, Ethan leaned down to get his pen. That's when it happened. His notebook slipped off the desk and landed with a loud thud. Before Ethan could pick it up, the notebook fell open. The letter slid out. And then, disaster struck. Liam, the class clown, saw the letter. He picked it up before Ethan could grab it. What's this? Liam asked, holding the letter high in the air. Give it back, Ethan said, his face turning bright red. But Liam was already reading the letter. His eyes widened and a mischievous grin spread across his face. A love letter? Oh, this is good. Before Ethan could stop him, Liam ran to the front of the class. Everyone, listen up, he shouted. Ethan wrote a love letter to Emma. The whole class burst into laughter. Some students clapped, while others shouted teasing comments. Ethan wanted to disappear. He buried his face in his hands, feeling his cheeks burn. Emma, who had been talking to a friend, looked confused. What's going on? She asked. Liam handed her the letter. Here, it's for you, he said with a smirk. Emma read the letter in silence. The room grew quiet. Everyone waited to see how she would react. Ethan couldn't look at her. He kept his head down, wishing the ground would swallow him whole. After a moment, Emma walked over to Ethan's desk. Hey, she said softly. Can we talk? Ethan looked up, his heart racing. He nodded and followed her out into the hallway. In the hallway, Emma smiled. I'm sorry about what happened in there, she said. Liam was being a jerk. Ethan felt his throat tighten. I didn't mean for everyone to see it, he said. It was supposed to be private. Emma nodded. I understand, and I think it's really brave of you to write this. Ethan blinked in surprise. You do? Yes, Emma said. Most people wouldn't have the courage to share their feelings like that. Ethan felt a tiny bit of relief. So, what do you think? He asked nervously. Emma hesitated. I think you're really sweet, she said, and I admire your honesty, but I don't feel the same way. Ethan's heart sank, but he appreciated her honesty. It's okay, he said. Thanks for being kind about it. Emma smiled again. You're a good guy, Ethan, and I think you'll find someone who feels the same way. Don't give up. When they returned to the classroom, the other students were still whispering and giggling, but Emma raised her voice. All right, everyone, that's enough, she said firmly. What happened was private, and it wasn't fair to make fun of Ethan. Let's move on. The class fell silent. No one wanted to argue with Emma. After that, things slowly went back to normal. Liam apologized to Ethan after school, though Ethan wasn't sure how sincere it was. Over the next few weeks, Ethan noticed something surprising. Instead of avoiding him, Emma started talking to him more. She asked him about his hobbies, helped him with his homework, and even invited him to sit with her group at lunch. One day, Emma said, "You know, Ethan, I think you're braver than most people. Writing that letter took a lot of courage. I'm glad we're friends now." Ethan smiled. He was still embarrassed about the letter, but he felt a little proud too. And while his crush on Emma slowly faded, he realized something more important. He didn't need her to like him back to feel good about himself. From then on, Ethan focused on being the best version of himself. And who knows, maybe someday someone would write him a letter.
The play Sabotage. The auditorium buzzed with excitement as the school play, The Enchanted Forest, approached its opening night. Emma, the lead actor, felt a mix of nervousness and pride. She had practiced her lines every day, and the costumes and props looked perfect. At least they had until yesterday. "Another prop is ruined," said Jake, the stage manager, rushing up to Emma. He held up a fake sword, now snapped in half. Emma frowned. "That's the third one this week. First the costumes, then the backdrop, and now this?" Jake nodded, his face serious. "It's not an accident. Someone's trying to ruin the play." The cast gathered on stage, murmuring in confusion. "Who would do this?" asked Mia, who played the fairy queen. "I don't know," Jake said, "but we're running out of time. If this keeps happening, we'll have nothing left for the show." Emma spoke up. "We need to figure out who's doing this. Jake and I will stay late tonight and keep watch." The cast agreed, though everyone looked uneasy. That evening, Emma and Jake hid behind the stage curtains, waiting. The auditorium was dark and quiet, except for the faint hum of the air conditioning. Suddenly, they heard a creak. A shadowy figure moved across the stage, heading toward the prop table. "Gotcha!" Jake whispered, flipping on his flashlight. The figure froze, then bolted toward the backstage exit. Emma chased after them, her heart pounding. "Stop!" she yelled. The figure tripped on a loose cable, falling to the ground. Emma and Jake caught up and pulled off their hood. It was Lily, a student who had auditioned for the lead role, but hadn't been cast. "Lily!" Emma said, shocked. "Why are you doing this?" Tears filled Lily's eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I wanted to be part of the play. When I didn't get the role, I felt left out. I thought if I ruined it, maybe they'd cancel the show." Jake sighed. "You should have just told us how you felt. We could have found a way for you to join." Emma knelt beside Lily. "We still can," she said gently. "There's a lot to do backstage. We need someone to help with costumes and props. Would you want to do that?" Lily looked up, surprised. "Really? You'd let me?" "Of course," Emma said. "This play isn't just about one person. It's about all of us working together." The next day, Lily apologized to the cast and explained what she had done. To Emma's relief, everyone forgave her. Opening night arrived, and the show went off without a hitch. The costumes sparkled, the props were perfect, and the audience loved every moment. Backstage, Emma hugged Lily. "Thanks for all your hard work. We couldn't have done it without you." Lily smiled. "Thanks for giving me a second chance." Emma learned that night that even when people make mistakes, understanding and kindness can turn things around. And Lily discovered that being part of something special didn't always mean being in the spotlight. The play was a success, but more importantly, it brought everyone closer together.
The cheating scandal. Sophia was the best student in our class. She always scored the highest on every test and was the first person teachers called on when they needed help. But that morning, everything changed. It was Friday, the day of our big math exam. Everyone was nervous. Mr. Peterson, our teacher, walked into the room with a pile of papers and a serious face. "I hope you're all ready," he said. We started the test at exactly 9 a.m. The classroom was silent, except for the sound of pencils on paper. I glanced at Sophia. She looked calm, her hand moving quickly as she solved each question. When the test ended, Mr. Peterson told us we could leave, but he asked Sophia to stay behind. I was surprised. Sophia never caused trouble. What could he want from her? At lunch, Sophia sat with us, looking pale. "Mr. Peterson thinks I cheated," she said quietly. We froze. "What?" Mia, her best friend, nearly shouted. Sophia took a deep breath. "Someone found a cheat sheet on my desk during the exam, but it wasn't mine. I didn't cheat." Everyone around the table started talking at once. How could this happen? Sophia wasn't just a good student. She was honest too. "I believe you," Mia said, putting her arm around Sophia. "But who would do this to you?" Sophia shook her head. "I don't know, but I have to figure it out. I can't let everyone think I'm a cheater." That evening, Sophia and Mia made a list of suspects. They thought about everyone who had been near Sophia during the exam. There was Jake, who loved to joke around, Anna, who struggled with math, and Eric, who had always been jealous of Sophia's grades. "Jake wouldn't do this," Mia said. "He's too lazy to make a cheat sheet." Sophia nodded. "And Anna? I don't know. She's been really stressed lately." "What about Eric?" Mia asked. Sophia hesitated. Eric had always been a little cold toward her. Once he even said she made the rest of the class look bad because she was so smart. But would he go this far? The next day at school, Sophia and Mia watched Eric and Anna closely. During the break, they saw Eric talking to Mr. Peterson. He looked nervous. "Do you think he's confessing?" Mia whispered. "I don't know," Sophia replied. After school, Sophia decided to talk to Jake. He was good at noticing details, even if he didn't take things seriously. "Did you see anything weird during the test?" Sophia asked him. Jake thought for a moment. "Actually, yeah," he said. "I saw Eric drop something near your desk before the test started. I thought it was just his pencil." Sophia's heart sank. Was Eric the one who framed her? During lunch, Sophia and Mia sat near Eric. "Why did you drop something near my desk before the test?" Sophia asked, her voice steady. Eric's face turned red. I didn't do anything," he stammered. Sophia stared at him. "If you didn't do anything, why are you acting so guilty?" Eric didn't answer. He grabbed his lunch tray and left the table. Mia leaned closer to Sophia. "It has to be him," she said. "But how do we prove it?" After school, Sophia went to Mr. Peterson's office. She told him about what Jake had seen and how Eric was acting. "I'll look into it," Mr. Peterson promised. The next day, Mr. Peterson called Sophia and Eric into his office. On his desk was the cheat sheet. "Eric," Mr. Peterson said, "I compared this cheat sheet to your notes. The handwriting is the same. Do you have anything to say?" Eric's face turned pale. He looked at Sophia, then at the floor. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I was jealous. You always get perfect grades, and I don't know. I wasn't thinking." Sophia felt a mix of emotions. She was angry, but she also felt sorry for Eric. Mr. Peterson gave Eric detention and made him apologize to Sophia in front of the class. That afternoon, Sophia and Mia sat under a tree outside the school. "I'm glad the truth came out," Sophia said, "but it's hard to trust Eric again." Mia nodded. "I get it. But maybe he'll learn from this." Sophia sighed. "I hope so." From that day on, Sophia focused on her studies and tried not to think about what happened. She knew she couldn't control what other people did, but she could control her own actions. And that was enough for her.
The missing notebook. Ms. Harper, the chemistry teacher, walked into the classroom holding a stack of papers and her usual cup of coffee. "Good morning, everyone," she said. "Before we start today's lesson, I have a surprise." The students perked up. Ms. Harper rarely gave surprises. "We're having a pop quiz," she announced, smiling. The groans were immediate. Everyone except Julia, the class's top student, looked panicked. Julia smiled calmly. She was always prepared for quizzes, and today was no different. Ms. Harper placed her notebook, the one containing the quiz answers, on her desk and turned to write instructions on the board. As she wrote, the students whispered nervously, trying to guess what might be on the quiz. When Ms. Harper finished, she turned back to the desk. Her smile faded. "Where's my notebook?" she asked. The class looked at her, confused. "My notebook was right here," Ms. Harper said, pointing to the empty spot on her desk. "It has all the answers to the quiz." The room went silent. "All right," she said firmly, crossing her arms. "No one is leaving this classroom until the notebook is found." The students exchanged nervous glances. Sam, the class clown, leaned over to whisper to his friend Max. "This feels like a crime show," he joked. Julia raised her hand. "Ms. Harper, could someone have taken it as a prank?" Ms. Harper nodded. "That's possible, but this isn't funny. If someone has it, they need to return it now." No one moved. "Fine," Ms. Harper said. "If no one confesses, we're going to figure this out together." The first suspect was Liam, who sat closest to the teacher's desk. "I didn't take it," he protested. "I don't even care about the answers. I'd fail the quiz anyway." Ms. Harper frowned, but moved on. "Julia, you're always prepared. Did you take it to make sure no one else could cheat?" Julia's cheeks turned red. "No, I would never do that." One by one, Ms. Harper questioned the students. Some were defensive, while others just looked bored. As tensions rose, Mia, a quiet girl who rarely spoke, suddenly said, "What if no one here took it?" "What do you mean?" Ms. Harper asked. Mia shrugged. "Maybe it wasn't stolen. Maybe it was just misplaced." Sam snorted. "Misplaced? It was right there on her desk. Where else could it go?" Mia shrugged again, but didn't respond. Julia, who had been silently observing, decided to take action. "Ms. Harper," she said, "can I check the classroom? Maybe the notebook fell somewhere." Ms. Harper nodded. "Go ahead." Julia walked around the room, looking under desks and chairs. She checked the shelves, the trash can, and even the window ledge. There was no sign of the notebook. She paused near the teacher's desk, thinking. Then she noticed something, Ms. Harper's coffee cup. "Ms. Harper," Julia said slowly, "did you move anything on your desk before you noticed the notebook was missing?" Ms. Harper thought for a moment. "Well, I did move my coffee cup when I started writing on the board." Julia smiled. "I think I know where your notebook is." She walked over to the stack of papers Ms. Harper had brought in. Carefully, Julia lifted the pile. And there it was, the missing notebook. The class burst into laughter and relief. Ms. Harper looked embarrassed, but laughed too. "Well, I guess the mystery is solved," she said. "Thank you, Julia." Sam grinned. "So, does this mean no quiz?" Ms. Harper gave him a pointed look. "Nice try, Sam. Get ready for the quiz." The class groaned again, but this time they were smiling. Later that day, Julia reflected on what had happened. It wasn't about finding the notebook. It was about staying calm and thinking clearly, even when things got tense. And maybe, just maybe, Ms. Harper learned a lesson too. Always check under the coffee cup.
The Class Whisper Game. It started as a joke, or at least that's what most of the class thought. During a boring Monday afternoon, Max leaned over to his friend Jenna and whispered, "I heard Mr. Carter has a secret." Jenna giggled. "What secret?" Max smirked. "I can't say, but trust me, it's big." By lunchtime, everyone in class was talking about it. "Did you hear? Mr. Carter has a secret," one student whispered to another. "What kind of secret?" "No one knows, but it must be huge." By the next day, the rumour had taken on a life of its own. "I heard he's quitting his job," said Mia. "No, I heard he's moving to another country," added Jake. "Someone said he's secretly married," whispered Lily. Every retelling made the story bigger and stranger. Soon, the students began to act differently around Mr. Carter. They whispered during his lessons, giggled when he turned his back, and avoided making eye contact. Mr. Carter noticed. "Is something going on?" he asked one morning. His voice was calm, but his expression showed concern. "No, nothing," said Max, trying to hide his grin. The situation grew worse when someone posted on the class group chat. "What do you think Mr. Carter's secret is? Let's guess." The guesses piled up, each one more outlandish than the last. Some students even made memes about it. By Friday, the entire school seemed to know about Mr. Carter's secret. Emma, one of the quieter students, felt uneasy. "This isn't right," she told Max. "We're making things up about him, and he doesn't even know why." "It's just a joke," Max said. "Relax." But Emma couldn't relax. She saw how uncomfortable Mr. Carter looked during class, how he hesitated before starting lessons. She decided to do something about it. After school, Emma stayed behind to talk to Mr. Carter. "Sir, I need to tell you something," she said, her voice shaking. Mr. Carter set down his papers and gave her a kind smile. "What is it, Emma?" Emma explained everything, the rumour, the whispers, the jokes. As she spoke, Mr. Carter's face shifted from confusion to understanding. "So that's what's been going on," he said softly. "Thank you for telling me." Emma felt a wave of relief, but also guilt. "I'm sorry we let it go so far." The next day, Mr. Carter addressed the class. "I've heard about the rumours," he said, his tone firm but not angry. "I don't know where they started, but I want to set the record straight. There's no big secret. The only thing I've been keeping to myself is that I've been feeling disappointed." The students looked at each other, their smiles fading. "I thought this class was better than spreading rumours," Mr. Carter continued. "Words have power, and they can hurt people, even when we think we're just joking." After class, Max stood up. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter. It was my fault. I started the rumour." "And I didn't stop it," said Jenna. One by one, the students apologised. Mr. Carter listened and nodded. "I appreciate your honesty. Let this be a lesson for all of you. Think before you speak, and don't let gossip control your actions."